manager. Might give folks a couple more minutes to pop in, but we'll do brief introductions here. So I'm going to be your moderator today. My name is Cody Gilkeson. I'm the business partner for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I've got on stage with me our brand new mental health champions, Heather Johnson and Carlie Fink-Maddux. You guys want to tell a little bit about your role at eXp? Heather?
Sure. So I actually just moved to Global from the U.S. Side of Agent Experience, and I am now acting as the Global Operations Coordinator. And so far, I have loved it. I've really enjoyed eXp, and am excited to be expanding and learning more about this awesome company.
That's great. How about you, Carlie?
Hi, I have been with eXp for about 4 years. Funny story, I recently went over to Global as well, just a little bit before Heather, and I am the Director of Global Transactions for the Global side. I was the Regional Transaction Manager for US for a long time, but I'm also an agent in North Carolina. My wife and I have a little team here in Raleigh, so I get to do, fun both sides of the world.
Great. Thanks, guys. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. Everybody, welcome. So first, I'd just like to say from the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion that we have these champion programs, and the Mental Health Champions is our second one. This is where we have identified people who are great at speaking on a topic that may not fit into an existing one eXp affinity group. So our first one was the Sustainability Champions, and these are our Mental Health Champions. They also, as part of their duties as champions, they will run a workplace group where they basically operate like an affinity network, and people can come to them with questions. You can speak anonymously with them. You can join the movement and help share your experiences, or if you just want to speak about mental health as a topic at all, you're welcome to join their group. And their group is called the Healthy Mind Collective, which I just love that title. So diving right in, you both have an obvious passion for mental health awareness and activism. Where does that come from, and what motivates you to drive these efforts forward? I'll start with you, Heather.
I think that my passion started with seeing close friends and family struggle with their own mental health issues, which led me to work in mental health for several years. And my work in mental health really drove a deep passion I have for helping people and bringing awareness to something that we all struggle with, whether we realize it or not. Everyone has mental health.
That's too true. And, I personally, for me, why mental health was selected as the next chapter of our Champions program, it really comes down to, this is something that I have had an experience with, and I think we all do. Just like you said, mental health is something that everybody has. We all have a mind. That was someone who was misdiagnosed throughout my childhood, and for anybody that isn't aware, if you are misdiagnosed and given a medication for something that you don't struggle with, it tends to have the opposite reaction to what it's supposed to have. So I was on antidepressants and became more depressed, and there was finally getting a grasp on my own mental health. And it's a long journey, but it's one that I'm happy to say I'm in a better place now. I've got proper diagnoses and all that sort of thing. So I'm feeling good. How about you, Carlie?
So for me, it has been something that I have struggled with since I was a kid. My dad still tells me today that I had to know where everybody in my family was at all times, or I would like freak out. And I could never have a sleepover at anybody's house because I was just too afraid to go anywhere. So mine has started from when I was a kid on, and now that I have my own daughter, and see some of the same things in her. I'm like a huge advocate for mental health for children and really listening to our children and helping them when they're young understand mental health.
Yeah, that's so important. You know, I'm when I was going through my mental health struggles as a kid, part of being misdiagnosed was I was sent to therapists that maybe weren't that qualified, which stems from my parents not really believing that mental health is a thing, you know. So when I would say, hey, I've got these feelings, I can't control them, and like, oh, I need some help. There's something's not right here. It was the sort of Southern male macho approach of, suck it up and deal with it kind of thing. You need to go outside more. You need to stop playing video games. You need to work for your dad in the automotive and towing. So none of those things would have made me happier, But that's sort of the line I was given. So now that I'm a grown up and sort of in charge of my own life, it's a different story.
Yeah,
and
it's a very. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'd like to say I think that we're fortunate in the fact that mental health and awareness of it is becoming more common, and so our kids won't have as much of a struggle with being dismissed, hopefully, as we did or our parents did. So
yeah, I'm really hopeful of that too. And the Gen Z kids, they really give me hope because they're really open about talking about their experiences, and everybody looks at the numbers and they say, oh, Gen Z has such a higher rate of anxiety and depression than generations past. That's not it. It's just everybody has issues and nobody's ever been able to capture that number because people don't talk about it. But Gen Z really is bucking that trend, and that's a really positive thing for me. Were you going to say something, Carlie?
I was literally going to say the same thing.
Yeah. So, a part of being this group within the setting of the eXp Realty is we believe that knowing more and learning more and being more cognizant of mental health actually can improve an agent's business. So in what ways can learning more about mental health and mindfulness improve an agent's business? What do you think? We'll start with Carlie this time.
So being an agent myself, this used to be it still is, a big focus for me was agents because it's a stressful job, right? Especially when your entire, if you're not working don't have any other income, like your entire income source, right, is based off of commission. And that can be extremely stressful. So I am a 500-hour certified yoga teacher. So I used to lead a meditation and yoga class specifically for real estate agents. And what I found with them and my own practice was that before really focusing on my mental health and the other agents saying the same thing to me, there was this high anxiety, right? And just worry all the time about where's my next sale going to come from? Where's my next funds going to come from? And that really comes across to clients as like pushy, and that, you want them to buy this house just so you can get a sale, right? So you're not taking care of the client. And when I switched my thinking, right, and really started focusing on myself and how to calm myself and my mind and all of the anxiety and worry that I had that came along with this job, I noticed that I looked at the big picture, right? And I was like, okay, this is a lifestyle for me now. And I have to do what's best for my clients, and not be pushy and not do this so that they have a great experience, because that is what is going to get me more clients, right? They're going to then refer me to, their neighbor or their aunt or their uncle or whatever it may be. And so I noticed a huge increase in my sale from that. And I, with working with a lot of real estate agents, it was the same feedback for them.
Yeah, that's a really good point. You have to take care of yourself. I think that point of coming off as pushy when you're living in this high stress commission based lifestyle, it's something that I have to give to the real estate agents. My job is tough, but commission based sales has always been literally the scariest possible prospect for me. That terrifies me. So I give big props to people who can manage that.
Not to interrupt our discussion, but we are getting some feedback from the audience that our meditation music for our Mindful Mondays is a little too loud for our conversation. Cody, are you able to take down this video? Whenever I click on the screen, it doesn't work.
Yeah. Oh.
Perfect. Thank you.
Welcome. So Heather, how about you on this question? The question is, in what ways can learning more about mental health and mindfulness improve an agent's business? What are your thoughts?
I think that I'd like to go a little bit deeper to like more of a root cause. I think around 25% of our homeless population struggles with mental health. And I think bringing awareness to mental health issues and providing resources to those that struggle with mental health ultimately helps people to be functioning members of society, which then trickles up to a better economy and brings more buyers to the market. And I feel like that can only help everyone.
Yeah, that's a really good, valid point. Homelessness is such a key issue that touches on all of our affinity groups, really. And mental health is the underlying situation. The vast majority, it's mental health related, and they're not getting the services they need. And yeah, it can only be positive by advocating for those folks so that they can get the help that they need, which then leads to a bigger market of home buyers. Yeah, that's a great point. So one of the things about mental health that we always have to talk about is stigma, right? For those who have fear about speaking openly about mental health, or whether that be their own personal mental health or just mental health in general, people have fear about speaking openly about it. What would you say to those folks? We'll start over with you, Heather.
I would say that that's okay. No one should feel pressured to speak up about personal experiences until they're ready to do so. So if you're not ready to be open about your own struggles in mental health, that's fine. And we're available here through this group by private chat if you want to talk to us individually without outing yourself to everyone at eXp. But everyone is on their own journey, and you can choose when or if ever you want to share that to anyone. Especially with stigma, you can always share, But once you share, you can't take it back. You can't take back that information. So it's a big decision for someone to decide to disclose personal information about themselves like that.
Right. Yeah. And I know you and I had spoken about this earlier, and I sort of equate it to, with LGBT stuff, how once you come out of the closet, there's no real taking that back, and once you come out, then you have to be prepared to do it. One way to tell.
Losing Cody. Is anybody else? Cody, we lost you. We're losing you.
No. Oh boy. Second.
You're back. I hear you.
Right. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, great. So yeah, I was just saying, I related a lot to coming out as LGBTQ in the way that once you say it, it's said, right? And while there is and always will be intrinsic value that you can get in your life from sharing details about your life with those that you trust, you also have to be aware of timing, right? We tell people all the time that coming out of the closet can change your life for the better. But, if you're, say, a kid living at home with parents who could harm you if you come out of the closet, it might not be the best time, right? There's always a time and a place for that sort of thing. Except if you do want to share your experience, that's a really positive thing that others can use as a growth opportunity. I'm really open about my mental health, and even I can admit that, yes, there have been times when I have felt that my career has been held back because of how open I am about my mental health. But the flip side of that, I know that I've helped people I share. So there's that too. And if you want to use the Healthy Mind Collective as a platform to share your experience, we're completely open for that. And if you want to talk privately, we're also completely open with that too. Carlie, do you have any thoughts about people who have fear about speaking openly about the topic?
Yeah, so, just to piggyback off of you a little bit, being part of the LGBTQ plus community as well, when I first came out, I felt a lot of shame around it and judgment. And so I didn't talk about that or mental health at all because I didn't want to be seen as the lesbian that has mental health issues. And that's why she's gay, right? But for me, I was never talked about it until I had my daughter and had extremely bad postpartum anxiety. And, you hear about the postpartum depression and everything, but you don't hear a lot about the postpartum anxiety. And it was debilitating for me, and I felt very alone. And then later, talking to a lot of my friends who felt similar ways, I was like, okay, this is something that needs to be talked about, needs to be addressed. So regardless of, how uncomfortable I feel in this situation, I kind of felt like it was partly my responsibility to educate women on it as well, because I felt like I was suffering alone, and I didn't want other women to feel that same way. So I think it's, I love Heather's side of it, right? It's okay. You're not pushed to do anything. This is your life, your story, your journey. And on my side, it was one of those things where I had to step out of my comfort zone because I felt like I was doing a disservice not to. And then, once I did and I was received well, I was like, oh, okay, well, this is okay. I can talk openly about, my life and things that have happened. And so it was it was very freeing.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful to hear. I love hearing a positive story and a story of success like that. Yeah, it's great to.
Cody, we're losing you again.
Oh no! Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I was just saying, I think it's beautiful that both of you have been able to self-advocate in really different ways, but empowering ways on both sides. So that's great. With this Healthy Mind Collective, how do you see this initiative relating to eXp's core values? I'll give it to you, Carlie. Sorry.
So I think going a little bit off of what we just talked about, I think eXp has really provided a lot of us an inclusive platform, right? So I've never worked for a company where I have felt so welcome and supported and loved, and that's just part of the eXp culture, right? I mean,
right.
For me, that's just, here's eXp on a platter, and with mental health, as Heather said before, everybody has mental health. It's not just for people who are diagnosed with, some sort of anxiety or depression or whatever. Mental health comes down to just self-care, right? Taking care of yourself mentally, right? So if you're stressed out at work, what are you going to do for yourself to fix that? And so I think this mental health collective is meant to be an inclusive environment for everybody, which goes off of what I feel like eXp and value embodies as a culture.
Absolutely right. What about you, Heather? How do you see it relating to the core values?
Well, if you think about it, I think that it relates and it touches every single one of our core values. Mental health is important as a community to support each other and to lift each other up. It's also important to have transparency so that we can do that. And also to collaborate on different ways that we can support our community. Innovation. Sometimes you got to get really creative about what's going to work. And some things that worked before as a coping method won't work next time. So you have to be innovative and you have to keep thinking of new things that is going to help support people and bring people up. You also have to be agile for the same reason. And I think that being aware of mental health and discussing it creates sustainability and integrity. And for the fun part, it's always fun to crack a joke every now and then and laugh about it.
Yeah, that's too true. And I really think that with the sustainability bit, this is a different kind of sustainability than our sustainability champions talk about, green efforts and that sort of thing. But when we have an agent base and an employee base who's taking care of their own mental health and given the freedom and the space to do that and keep their jobs, those employees stay longer. If that's not the definition of sustainability, I don't know what is, and I think for me, the core value of service is there too, right? By being able to understand and communicate in an inclusive manner to people who may be struggling mentally, it makes you of service, makes you of better service. So, with a lot of this, we've got some heavy topics that'll be covered in your future content. Carlie, I just want to ask, how can we make some of these heavy topics fun and engaging?
Well, I can't promise that they will all be extremely fun, just because heavy topics, are just that. They're heavy. However, I think every topic that we discuss will make engaging, because we're going to offer something for everyone, right? This is not just one lane thing. We are going to have something for everybody here, and I think with that we want to have a lot of interaction with the people in the collective. We want feedback. We want ideas from everybody, and we're also going to provide some really interesting and unique information and speakers to keep it, for fun and exciting and surprising.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think that, that's something that we really saw the sustainability champions have success right out of the gate with, is they were engaging because they were telling people something right? Or giving them a perspective they weren't aware of, so that, I love that. I'm going to come over in what ways was your activism and awareness to account for
You're breaking up again, Cody. I'm sorry, I didn't get any of that.
Oh boy. Okay. New internet, new house. Who dis? So I wanted to put the question to you, Heather. In what ways will you utilize your activism and awareness to account for marginalized communities and those who experience mental health stigmatization?
I think awareness mostly is a huge one. Bringing awareness on how mental illness affects our underserved community and minorities. We just, in general, things that can add to mental health: poverty, not having your basic needs met, hunger, being in a constant state of survival weighs on you so much. And I think that it's important to remember that therapy is a privilege. Not everyone has the means to get therapy, and not everyone has those resources in their communities. So I think that it's very important to bring awareness to that and to fight to make sure that everyone has the resources they need to have a healthy mindset and also to have healthy lives.
That's too true. And, it's on the staff side for eXp employees, we really are blessed with pretty good mental health coverage in our benefits package. So I, encourage everybody that, if you can find the right provider for you, then this may be your opportunity to do it. For me, the bit about accounting for marginalized communities is everything, because one of the reasons we wanted to bring this initiative forward was because it's so intersectional, meaning that it touches on all, right? Everybody has mental health, and it affects everybody differently, based on your background, your upbringing, and your, genetic makeup, that sort of thing. So, for instance, we see a lot where PTSD is talked about in a way that you would believe that the only people who suffer from PTSD are those who have served in the military, right? And we know that that's not real. That's not the case. There are plenty of people who suffer from PTSD who have never seen active duty, who've never seen a battlefield. And that's just one of the many reasons that we thought, hey, we think we have something interesting to say. I want to direct this question over to Carlie about accounting for marginalized communities in this space.
Absolutely. And first of all, I just want to point out that your cat wants to be included in the conversation.
Yes. Pixel cannot. Anyway.
Kind of steal the show.
That's it.
Well, I think that our goal, Megan messaged me and she said, I thought it was your daughter. Just funny story, because I didn't know I was not muted in a meeting yesterday, and my daughter was in the room meowing. Yes. So funny. But I think with our group, a lot of the times, not a lot of times, I think with our group, our goal is to really focus on the stigma that just in general around mental health. It really prevents people from talking about it, from handling their own issues. People are suffering in silence. And I think that by educating ourselves and others, that it isn't something that a particular type of person has, right? We all have it. So we shouldn't think differently of those that are suffering with depression or anxiety or mental illness. We should actually be, putting more compassion and more care around them. And I think, the big question is like, how can we do that? And that's what our group is here to, figure out and help with.
We say that all the marginalized communities in our nation, in our world, experience mental health differently. We have a limited number of perspectives here in this leadership team, but as we grow the group, more of those perspectives will come into us that we can help share and signal boost. And that really is the goal, so that people, everybody, including us, can understand what it's like to be someone who's different from us, comes from a different background than us, but what's their mental health journey like, and what does it have to do with their background, right? Next question I want to get. Carlie, do you want to touch this one?
I don't know what you asked me to touch on, because
oh my gosh, this internet connection is killing me. What kinds of content can we look forward to from the Healthy Mind Collective?
So we want to make this an inviting, loving, right, space. So we will be posting daily. We'll be posting like quick tips, which, are just quick little ways that you can help with your mental health, right? We will be posting like fun articles that are informative, but also fun to read. We'll be posting some live videos. We're going to do some panel interviews. And we already have our Mindful Mondays that Heather and I lead. She does a little talk, and then I lead a meditation based off of kind of what we're focusing on that day. So join us on Mondays. And then I think we'll also do kind of what we talked about already, a lot of information around breaking the stigma that's associated with mental health. So I think just a bunch of fun stuff. Yeah, and we're open to suggestions. So if anybody, specifically wants to talk about a subject or wants more information on a subject, we're open for that so that we can share that with everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with any of these groups, it's also expected that after we have an event or put out some content, we absolutely welcome any, comments or criticisms or whatever. Help us to grow and build this content so it's more engaging for you, right? This is early days, and it can only get better with the feedback from you guys. Heather, do you have anything you wanted to add about content that we've got coming up?
The only thing that I'd like to add is that there might be some meme drops to bring some laughter to the conversation and to brighten your day a little bit. A little bit of humor never hurt anyone.
You are so right.
Absolutely.
You are so right. I love a good meme.
And I use humor when I am uncomfortable and awkward, so it may become a lot for me.
Yeah, same. So the next one I want to touch on is what are the benefits of joining the Healthy Mind Collective? What's your elevator pitch to someone to say, I want you to join this group and here's why? Heather?
Well, I'll just turn that around. Why not? Come join us, try it out, see what we're about, and if it's not for you, you can leave at any time. But why not? And I think that there are tons of benefits. There's community. There's getting to know, your fellow coworkers and agents. There's learning how to support them. And you might learn something new about yourself as well.
I don't think any of us has too many of those. Oh, jeez. What about you, Carlie?
My thing says unable to connect. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I mean, it's what Heather said. There's going to be something for everybody. I mean, if for nothing else, come join for the memes.
Come for the memes, stay for the education. Is that
right? Exactly. I love it. That's our pitch.
Could be the tagline. Yeah, that and one of the first images that we created once we had the name Healthy Mind Collective is that one in the middle on the screens behind you guys sitting out there, and it just says Healthy Mind Collective, let's talk. Right? I think that says it all. Like, you want somebody to talk to, we're here to talk. And work through some stuff. You got something you want to vent, if you just need somebody that you can talk to about work or life or whatever, we're here for that. We're looking to build a network and a collective of folks that you can lean on for stuff like that, right?
Yeah, and I think we also really want to focus on working from home and just real estate in general. Like, it's hard, right? You're by yourself all day, you're at your computer, like it can get very lonely and just boring. And also being an agent is stressful. So come just for the stress relief.
Yeah, that. And, we talk a lot about agents, but I can speak from experience that eXp staff are stressed as well, We have tight deadlines and turnover and, maybe managers watching spreadsheets we're working on, that sort of thing. So, a little bit of stress relief never hurt anybody. And, especially if it's a place you can come and have a safe space to talk about stuff and maybe have somebody advocate for you to make that situation better. That's what we're here for, right? Yeah, so question I want to wrap up in. What can eXp agents, staff, and leaders do to get involved and make an impact? We'll start with you, Carlie.
I think encouraging your team, the agents, yourself, to come to our events, to come to the DEI events. before I came over here, when DEI was starting up and doing all their events, my current boss at the time was like, let's all go, kind of like made it as a group thing. And it was awesome because nobody felt like they had to be like, hey, can I go to this? It was like, let's all go. So I think as leaders, we can do that to help our staff. And, maybe share our posts. No. But yeah, just interact with us. Shared the link. Heather, do you have anything to add onto that?
I say everything that Carlie just said. And just, join us, join our workplace group, and just participate and listen. Listen to see what people have to say. I think that that's a big one.
Yeah, that's a big one. And I know that you guys are going to be putting out a lot of content. I dropped the link for the workplace group down there in the chat. You can find it by going to Workplace and looking for eXp HMC, or just follow this link. HMC is for Healthy Mind Collective. And I think the number one thing that I would say, if you want to make an impact, is learn, right? Never stop learning. There's always something you can learn more about mental health and how you can be inclusive of people that may be struggling. And after you learn, put that into practice. If you see somebody being not treated well because of a real or perceived mental issue, then be supportive of them. Step up and help them, or ask them if you'd like them to, if they'd like for you to speak to the manager about being more inclusive. There's ways that you can advocate for someone, just by being there for them. Be somebody's shoulder, be a little more understanding. We got to get away from all the stigma, and that only happens when all of us actively try to make it better for those around us. And with that, I'd love to open it up to the group. Does anybody have any questions for our mental health champions or me? Questions, comments, don't be shy.
This is China. I don't have any questions, but I think this is awesome. I'm looking forward to being a part of this. I just enjoyed today, and I'm just looking forward to participating more.
That's fantastic. Yeah, join the group, and I know Heather and Carlie will be happy to have you and utilize you however however you want to be utilized. Yeah, great. Thank you for the feedback.
Yes, just a huge thank you to providing the environment, because I think I speak for quite a few of us when I say not all of us have an environment that is receptive to this type of conversation.
That's too true. It's too true. And I talk about my personal experience a lot, but I'm someone that suffers from an anxiety disorder and ADHD. And I was just diagnosed with ADHD this year. I'm 37 years old. So getting that diagnosis, it felt like everything in my life started to make sense. And then when I tried to figure out ways to work within the confines of what I had, I found that a little difficult, because it was learning how to, now that I have this information, how do I make that work with medication? How do I make that work in practice at work? And I really could have used a community of people that if I popped into the Healthy Mind Collective and said, hey, here's Big Cody with no secrets, and and I've got ADHD and I can't figure out how to balance my work day. Maybe somebody could have stepped up and helped me, So that's an environment that we would love to be able to provide. So I'm really happy that we have this and that you guys showed up for this, and this is only going to grow as we move forward. Anybody else? Any questions, comments?
Cody, this is Catherine, and I have the honor of working every day with Carlie and Heather, and so I really was looking forward to this, when I saw it a week ago, and I just want to say thank you, and I think more of this is needed, definitely across the company, because not only do we need the safe space, but we also need a place where we can feel like it's okay to talk about decompressing, because the pressures are a lot on all of us, and just to encourage each other, really, I think this is a good place for that too. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. Yeah,
that's beautiful. And when we first started talking about this Healthy Mind Collective, it was not my intention to get two people as the champions who worked on the same team, but that's just the way it shook out, because we found the two best people for the job, kind of deal.
I know, and well, to be fair, whenever you brought us in, we were not both on Global.
Yeah, to be fair, whenever you offered this to me, I was still on the
Yes.
It was just a happy accident that I ended up in Global.
Yeah, really, yeah. Like all three of us, we're all Michael Valdez people, so yeah. Anybody else? Any questions, comments, concerns? Anything you'd love to see from us in the coming months? Let us know. All right, with that, we'll wrap this up. I'd like to thank Alex for being here for recording this, and I just want everybody to know that this will be available on the DEI Workplace Group and the Healthy Mind Collective Workplace Group, which I hope you've all joined. And I'd encourage you to encourage your teams to join as well. Tell your teams about this, how cool it is, what the idea is, and how they can help. Yeah. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Nicole. We're looking forward to the future too. All right. Thanks, everybody.